Hello, everyone. How are you doing this evening? Do we have sound and screens? I always like to check on that because, you never know what could happen here. Thanks, everyone. So, where are y'all coming to me from this evening? Hawaii, love it. Los Angeles, Costa Rica, Colorado, Alabama. Wow, it's a lot of responses. Awesome. Well, I am so grateful that you decided to join me here this evening, and I'm going to do my very best to make very good use of your time. Ooh, Fort Collins, Colorado. Awesome. I used to live in Durango for just a little bit of time. Ooh, Georgetown. Very close. Well, welcome, everyone. So tonight, I'm going to be doing a presentation that I have named How to Grow Your Options Account. So I thought that this title was rather fitting due to everything that I'm going to be talking about tonight. And I'm going to be showing you the exact method in which I have grown my options account. And, you can glean from that, learn from that, and see if you would like to learn more. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just wanted to give you a couple examples so you know what we're talking about. Normally, I like to look at everything in the terms of percentage gains. This is the current account that I'm trading with, that I started trading right around the end of May, around June. And so currently I'm up about 600% on this account. So that would equate to about $32,000 on a $6,000 account over the course of the past 4 months. Now, I'm sure that you read in the emails, this is the third account this year. This is my first account that I ended up cashing out. This one was started again with $5,000 around last July, and then I ended up cashing that one out at the beginning of this year after I traded it up to 25K. And then here is another account. This is actually a futures account that I ended up trading from about $2,000. At the height, it was about 17K, and then I ended up cashing out about $10,000 of that. And I went ahead and used that money to assist on a down payment for a lake house in the middle of this crazy pandemic. So when I talk about, using options trading to equal freedom, that is what I mean. I mean, taking a little bit of money, using that money to make more. I'm not doing anything too crazy, right? Starting off with $6,000, $2,000, it's not a ton of money, right? But when you can multiply that, it really can equal something amazing for you. So here's my family and I. We go fishing for catfish on a regular basis. My son, he loves fishing, being down at the lake. This is a giant smoker that I got. And this year I've learned how to make a pretty decent brisket, if I do say so myself. So, things have changed for me substantially. I know there's a lot of you around who've been with us for a long time, and I know there's a lot of you who are new to us as well. And I mean, if you've been around with me since the beginning, you'll know, I used to make 20, 50% in a year. There were a year or two where I broke even, right? And I was happy with that. But this year, making 500% twice and then 600% currently, that involved a little something different. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the updates I've made, everything that I'm doing currently now, and how you can do that too. Okay. So what we're going to be focusing on tonight is number one, how I pick tickers before they take off. This is absolutely critical. Okay. You have to be able to select a ticker before you can trade it and make money on it. I am going to tell you how I make money using 3 core option strategies. And I'm going to show you how you can make strategic picks in half the time. Okay. So for me, this is all about account growth. How much of your account are you invested on an average for this method? Honestly, I mean, I really don't go over 50 or 60%. Even in the most bullish market, I usually stick around 20, 30%. When the account was smaller, yes, it was a little bit larger, 40, 50% on a regular basis, but I do lower that percentage when the market gets a little bit crazy. So we're going to talk about that as well, because it depends if we're in an aggressive market environment or a more choppy market environment. And I do not pattern day trade at all. So there are going to be some random times where I get in and out in a day, but for the most part, these are all going to be swing trades which means that I'm holding overnight. Typically, my trades are going to last anywhere between overnight and about 15 days is about the maximum. So for those of you who have never met me before, I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Danielle Shea. I'm the Director of Options here at Simpler Trading. I'm a market analyst. First and foremost, I'm a trader and I'm an expert commentator. I'm frequently on the show Trading Nation on CNBC, and I also do additional appearances on Fox Business, stock charts, and more. Primarily, what I love to do is I love being in the trading room with all of you. I also have my own mastery program where I send out my alerts, and I love teaching classes that tell other people how to do what I do. But it was not always like this, okay? I actually used to be a teacher making $575 a month in Costa Rica. So much to my father's dismay, I decided to go to Latin America after I graduated from college. And, you know, I loved making $575 a month. But the path that I'm on now has brought me more freedom than I could ever imagine. And now that money that I used to make as a teacher in Costa Rica, I can make that, you know, easily in a day. And it's completely different world. And that's why I do this now. So I think the most interesting part about my story is that I'm completely self-made. You know, I studied law in college. I used to be a teacher. I taught elementary school. I learned how to trade online just like many of you are doing right now, okay? I know how hard it is, and I know what it's like to struggle to get ahead. And so that's why I love giving back to other traders who are trying to make it like I finally have. So, you know, for me, this changed my life, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So let's go ahead and talk about a trader's job, okay? What is a trader's job? I mean, it's really very simple, okay? You have to, number one, be able to identify a ticker that's likely to have a greater than expected move. This part is absolutely critical, okay? When you are trading options, you absolutely have to identify something that is going to move more than expected, because options are priced so that if you don't get an explosive move, you are going to lose money, okay? So you have to be able to do this. You also have to know how to trade it, okay? So here's an example on Chewy. This is one of my favorite tickers. I've been trading this thing over and over all year. This is the type of trading that I do, okay? I have an entry here, I have another exit here. I have an entry here, I have another exit here. I have an entry here, I have another exit here. I have an entry here, have another exit here. And by the way, this entire time, I'm also holding the stock as well. So this is one of my top money-making tickers this year. And using my method, I'm able to get in and out multiple times in the options market. Here's an example of one of my favorite moves on Chewy this year. There's a couple things that I want you to notice. I want you to notice the color of the trend strength candles here. I want you to notice the trend overall. You see how the trend is very strong? You can tell because these candles are green, okay? You can also tell because these moving averages are stacked. This is why I got into a trade right here, positive volume on the VZO, and boom, off it went. So that one ended up being a pretty good day. That was about a $3,000 day. I was down with my son fishing on the dock and just letting Chewy go, okay? What is the yellow line? That is going to be the 50-period simple moving average. All right, so, you know, the trend strength candles are something that are really helpful in this situation because they help me with entries. You can see the red, the yellow, the green. As the colors shift, it identifies fantastic points for entry, and the volume also tells me that it's time to stay in the trade rather than get out. Now you're asking about pen, Rick. So I don't have a screenshot of pen right now, but I can guarantee you that it was exactly something like this. We had a shift in the trend strength candles going from red to yellow to green and flipping to the upward sides on the lower time frame chart. So these candles display the strength of the trend, volume, and momentum. This is what I do, okay? I trade volume, I trade momentum, I trade big moves that are about to happen, okay? So these are, just an example of what different days look like in my life. So Peloton is one that I love to trade as well. This is a day where we had a really nice momentum move. I had a butterfly and I also had long calls. And there we go. We had $2,500 on that day in this small account. So in this example, you can see, again, you have the same parameters. You have those nice stacked moving averages. You've got an entry right here. You have high volume and boom, your exit. And then of course I got back in again and I got back in again as well. So for me, talking about which options picks I'm looking at is absolutely a critical, okay? But if you ask me, hey, Danielle, what have you traded over the course of your career? You're going to get different answers because you know why? At different moments in time, different tickers in different industry groups have this volume and momentum, okay? In 2017, I was trading a lot of bank and healthcare stocks. In 2018, it was all about the FANGs. In 2019, I was looking at cloud computing and semiconductor stocks. And guess what? Those have still been hot this year as well. But in 2020, things have shifted and we are looking at work from home companies along with e-commerce and companies that are benefiting from the pandemic. And it is all about knowing when to make that shift so that you can identify your momentum movers, okay? So this year, it's been all about the companies that have been making money in this pandemic. And here are several of them. You've got Roku, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Peloton, Chewy, the ones that we're going to be talking about tonight, okay? So let's talk about step by step. Right now, e-commerce stores and specific retail outlets are doing phenomenal, but how do you know which ones, okay? It's these steps that lead to days like a $6,000 day or like a $4,000 day in Microsoft. Here is an example of this chart setup in Microsoft that was just from this week, all right? On Friday, I went ahead and got in on a volume breakout in Microsoft and went ahead and took profits the next day and the day after that, okay? So it's a really nice volume and momentum move that started with being able to pick the stock and then identifying a way to trade it. So remember, okay, what's your job as a trader? Identify the ticker that's likely to have a greater than expected move and determine how to trade it in the options market. So for pretty much my entire career, I have used this tide analogy, okay? You're looking for a tide that's going to lift all ships, and that's where you identify where the tide is and how to jump on it. So for example, I used to teach top-down sector analysis, and I would say, hey guys, we're going to start off by looking at the tech sector, and then we're going to break that down and we're going to pick the strongest ticker in the tech sector. Same thing with retail. Well, it's just not really the same anymore because you know why? The coronavirus has come in and disrupted every single industry group out there. And you know what's happened this year? A rising tide comes in, half the ships are going to float and sink, a fourth are barely going to weather the storm, and even fewer of those are going to make it to shore. Just take a look at what has happened to retail. Take a look at what's happened to restaurants. This is completely different this year, more than any year, and we must absolutely be able to figure out which ships are the strongest ones that are going to be the ones that are going to make it to shore, okay? So here's an example with retail, all right? Before, we would look at retail and we would say, hey, guess what? Black Friday's coming up, the holiday season's coming up. Retail is most likely going to be strong. That is not the case anymore. You see my face? I'm like, no, I don't think retail is not a good pick right now. Right now, what it's all about is picking specific names, okay? Because retail does not move together anymore. Some companies have succeeded despite obstacles, and many are going out of business, all right? How do you know which one is going to be the best? Here's an example of a segment that I had on CNBC. I picked Lowe's, Sherwin-Williams, and Home Depot. This was months ago. And now at this point, Lowe's is trading at 173. We have Sherwin-Williams that's trading at 693. And we have Home Depot that's trading at 287, okay? So these were some of my strongest picks at that time. Now, I think that one of the most interesting pieces about this year is that historically, we've always used Dow theory and we've said, okay, if there's going to be problems in the economy and if the market's going to slow down, we should look at the transports. And if the transports are going lower, that will tell us that we should be cautious. Well, guess what? Look at UPS. UPS is making high after high, okay, when you have the airliners that are getting completely slammed. So as we know, there's been many different changes this year, and I decided to go ahead and trade UPS because this is one of the strongest stocks out there, okay? So I went ahead and took an entry. We have a really nice stacked chart here. We have a pullback, and then we have a shift in the trend strength candles. And here's an example of a very low cost butterfly. This butterfly was only $2.15. And it gave me a nice conservative trade with a 69% winner. Some of these trades are going to be bigger. Some of these trades are going to be smaller. And I like to do a nice wide range, just depending on the state of the overall market. Here's an example of a Zoom butterfly. This butterfly only cost me $1.25, and I ended up closing it for $7.60. That was a 500% winner. So we had a really nice entry, volume and momentum breakout move. It went a little bit higher than I thought it would, but it pulled right back and I got a great exit on this one. Here's an example of a Peloton butterfly. Again, you have a volume breakout move, boom, right up to my target. And in this example, I had a 228% winner. And this butterfly only cost me 279 cents, all right? And that made for about $1,200 of profit, okay? So when I say that sector analysis is dead, what I mean is that before, I'd spend all my time breaking down sectors, looking at the top stock. I'd say, oh my gosh, I'm going to look at consumer discretionary, and then I'm going to pick my top stock. And it was that easy. But now I have to look for tickers that are sticking out in new up and coming areas of the market and new industry groups that have really nothing to do with the basic, 11 sectors of the sector spider. If you look at just the 11 sectors of the sector spider, yes, you're going to have opportunities, okay? You're going to have opportunities in Facebook and Google and Microsoft and in discretionary. But what I have learned over time is that these aren't going to be the tickers that are really going to help me get this huge account growth, okay? They're absolutely the reliable winners. And that is how I started my career. And I will never, ever tell you, don't trade Adobe or Microsoft, because those are great stocks to trade. They're the reliable runners. But if you can learn how to pick out these stocks that are really explosive, that is how you're really going to be able to make explosive gains, okay? So what is a trader to do? Well, we must be able to pick stocks that fit within the current trading environment, the crazy pandemic, the election cycle, the work from home culture, and more, okay? Let's talk about the difference between the reliable runners and the real money honey stocks, okay? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with trading the top tech stocks, okay? But these are going to be stocks that aren't really going to move more than maybe 3% max on a huge day, all right? Yes, they do it. It's great. I love it. We always have to take a slice of those reliable runners. But traders that can dip into the real money honey winners are the ones who are really going to be able to experience that account growth. Now, let's go back to the basics here, okay? And let's talk about the technicals, because that's really all where it started for me. So here's a picture of me the first time that I met John, actually. It was at an event in Vegas. And something that stuck with me very clearly, this was back at the time where I didn't even know how to pick out a setup by myself. I was in the trading room. I was learning from John. I was learning from Henry. There's no way that I could have picked a setup by myself, but I was copying their trades and I was trying to figure out how I could do it. And he taught this setup, and it was in the mentorship book, and it was called the stacked setup, which over time, I mean, I've taken it and I've melded it and it's led to the magic combo, okay? Like I said, at that time, I never could have picked a setup on my own, but I wanted to, right? And I wanted to take those rules and I wanted to figure out how I could make it as easy as possible so that I could go in and I could pick winners. And you know why? Because John, you know, he was trading Tesla and he was trading Amazon and he was trading Google. And here was me with my small account. And I'm thinking, well, I can't trade long calls on Google, John. That's not going to work. I need to be able to pick my own winners. Okay. So I took those rules and I applied them to cheaper stocks. At the time, it was stocks like MasterCard, stocks like Visa, because you know why? They have the same setups, but the options are cheaper, okay? And I wanted to make this as easy as possible because at that time, I didn't have the intuition. And by using those rules and applying those rules, that is how I gained the intuition that I now have today. So what are the rules? These are very key technical parameters for the magic combo, okay? You need to be able to see stacked moving averages, the 8, the 21, the 34 EMAs, and the 50, the 100, and 200 SMAs. You also want to see price above the 21 or 34 EMA, but I will accept the 50 SMA. If price falls and the moving averages get sloppy, I want to see an 821 moving average cross for an upside trigger. If I'm long, I look for an 821 moving average cross to the downside to get out. And volume is a key component, okay? I love high volume breakout moves. And the core piece of this is that volume has to be within 90% of a new all-time high. So here's a couple different examples, all right? Let's look at SPOT. So Spotify is one of those strong stocks throughout this overall time. Here, you have stacked moving averages. You have green trend strength candles. You have the shift telling you, hey, guess what? Get ready. It's time for a pullback. You have a perfect hold of a 50-period simple. Yellow candles telling you it's time to go. And then boom, off it goes, okay? So that's exactly what I'm talking about here. And with this trade, I did something, I wouldn't call it risky or anything. $6 butterfly, $6.55. And went ahead and got out with a conservative gain of 44%, okay? Nothing too crazy, you know, no $5,000 calls, nothing like that. Nice, easy trade with a reliable setup, okay? Now, the key here is that it takes a lot of time to search through the market and do this process on every chart you look at. It's like, okay, well, where are the moving averages in relation to each other? Where is price in relation to the moving averages? Your goal as a trader is to quickly and efficiently identify winning tickers, not spending hours a day researching while you're missing moves. And you know why? Time is money, okay? And luckily, I cracked the code. There's more to the formula, all right? Yeah, you're right, Butch. I did mean 10% of the high. Thank you very much. So anyways, you just want to be able to do this really quickly because time is money, okay? And it's all about a combination of picks. For me, what I'm looking for is a combination of these hot picks that lead to regular gains. Is this a lotto strategy? No, absolutely not. So I do, some lotto trades every now and then, maybe with earnings or something like that. But for the most part, this is my regular strategy that I use every day, all the time. And the majority of these trades are pretty consistent winners. I do take some that are a little bit more aggressive, but for the most part, they're pretty much all conservatively aggressive is what I like to call it. The reason why I like to call it conservatively aggressive is because even though the setups are a little bit more aggressive, I trade them with a trading strategy that's not too expensive that allows you to get a really good risk to reward. So for example, this was a $1,000 day. you had what, $200 here, 100 here, 460 here, 450 here, 800 here, 200 here. So, I mean, you're not taking a ton of risk on any of these tickers, right? And then I am going to have days like this where this was a $4,300 day, almost 4,400. On that day, I had a little bit more size on this ticker than the others. That's because I had a magic combo. I had 2 calls that were delta 70 and 4 that were delta 50. And that's when I was really able to max out that setup. But those days like that, they're going to come for sure. But on a regular basis, I definitely like to do a little bit more conservative trades, but on that instance, I knew it was a magic combo and I knew it was time to just add a little bit more size. A pick in NVIDIA. So looking at NVIDIA, same thing. You see how the trend strength candles, they shift from green to yellow to red. That's your pullback zone. Boom, up it goes. And you have a really nice move here right to the $540 target. On this one, again, I mean, I could have loaded up long calls on this, but I didn't. I got a conservative butterfly. It was $5.27. And I got out for $8.40. It was a great 59% winner on a conservative trade. So, for me, identifying your job as a trader is the most critical, and identifying the ticker and determining how to trade it is how I do it. Are those the 10X bars? No, they are the trend strength turbo candles, but the dot that is on the trend strength turbo candles is the same code from the 10X bars. The colors of the candles are coded completely differently. They're based on the strength of the trend, which is price in relation to the moving averages. The moving averages are based on the Fibonacci number series. And they're based on price, how price moves in relation to the moving averages. So the dot is the volume dot that comes from the trend strength candles, or from the 10X candles, and the rest is from the trend strength candles. And the combination is the trend strength turbo candle. It's basically the magic combo, okay? Yes, they are different from Raggi's. All right, so I can teach you how to grow accounts. Here's a couple of examples of different accounts. I have a variety of different stock accounts, futures accounts, options accounts, and this is what I do, okay? We already talked about the account growth that I have on the recent account that I've been trading after I cashed out my other accounts for my lake house. And I do this based off of using different strategies at different points in time, okay? Sometimes I'm conservative. There are times, like right now, we're a little bit more volatile, where I'll have a little bit less size on than normal. And maybe I do a little bit more butterflies versus debit spreads. That to me is more conservative, okay? But I'm absolutely still trading, okay? Conservatively aggressive, this is really more of a combination of things like spreads and butterflies at the same time. And aggressive is a better example of the Microsoft trade that I showed, where I had, 6 different calls. It was kind of a max size on my account. That was a little bit more aggressive trade. But for me, each builds on one another, okay? The easiest is to master one strategy before moving on to the next. Understand how the option strategy works, and using it is key. So for example, long calls. Who loves long calls? Well, most traders that I talk to, they come into this only knowing how to trade long calls, right? And long calls are great. There's a great moment in time to use them. It's a great moment in time to use them when you really have an explosive setup where the strikes that you want to get fit within your risk parameters, and you really think that you have a solid shot, okay? The problem with long calls, Frank says me and long calls broke up. Hey, I get it, Frank. The problem with long calls is that they move a lot, right? And that can be really nerve-wracking for some people, especially in volatility, okay? There's times to use them, there's times not to use them. What about spreads? How many of you are familiar with spreads? Carolyn says she's divorced from long calls. Hey, I get it. So I love spreads. I think that spreads, debit spreads especially, are a great way to bring down your cost on a long call, and put credit spreads are a great way to really use a conservative trade, but you can also be directional. So you're remarried to spreads. That's amazing. I personally love butterflies as well. So I really use a combination of all three strategies. For me, butterflies are really the best thing to put on a directional trade when I have the right opportunity, because I love the risk reward that they bring. If I have a directional setup and I have a target that I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit, and I can get a decent butterfly on it within my time frame, I love that strategy as a go-to. When I have something like a magic combo, that's the time where I'm going to combine butterflies, maybe a spread, maybe also some long calls as well, because I want to have more size on it, okay? And I think the most common question that I get from options traders is, how do I know when to use each strategy, right? And this year in particular has really been a time where I have really focused on nailing this strategy, where I talk about, this is the exact time to do one over the other, and exactly how do you build your butterflies. So for me, and you killed it following me on the NVIDIA butterfly last week. Awesome. So basically I set up my butterflies on directional strategies so that I'm targeting a key area. If I'm looking at Peloton and I'm targeting, let's say, the $100 price point, what you have to do is you have to set it up so that your butterfly is going to be able to capture the move from wherever you are into 100. And so there's a variety of different ways to do it. It just depends on the type of risk that you're wanting and the type of reward you're looking for, in addition to the time frame. And, by the way, I have a Henry to thank for teaching me how to do those a while back, because I still love them and they're still my number one setup. You're welcome, Andrew. There are accounts that only allow for long calls or puts or only stocks, like those regulated accounts. Is your strategy available for that? Yes. And yes, I do teach how to do butterflies. Do you use weeklies primarily? It just depends on the ticker. I do use a lot of weeklies though. You killed it on the NVIDIA butterfly as well. Awesome. Do you try to pin with a butterfly? So this is a great question, because people ask me this all the time, and they always say, oh, people always try to pin it with a butterfly, and pinning on a butterfly is so impossible, and how can you possibly make money on this? And I think that the biggest misconception with butterflies is that you have to actually pin it to make money, okay? Pinning means, let's go back to the Peloton example, that if I'm targeting $100, I want to get exactly there by the exact day till expiration, okay? That is not how I trade butterflies. Yes, it does happen sometimes, and it's great when it does, but for the most part, what I'm looking for is a range, okay? By using directional butterflies in the way that I do, is I'm saying, hey guys, you know what? I think that Peloton is going to reach $100, and I'm looking for about a 7 to 9 day range. And that is how I'm going to make, anywhere between 50 to 200% on this trade. And it can be there within 7 to 9 days, but it does not have to be there on Friday expiration. Now, if it gets there exactly on Friday expiration, we high five after we close it, never before. And that's great, but the majority of the goal is to capture this movement, okay? From 90 to 100 or 80 to 100 or whatever it is. You can make plenty of money doing that, trading butterflies, and you do not have to get it to the exact price on the exact date, okay? Yes, and you made a lot of money as well. That's great. So the moral of the story is that traders need to know these facts, all right? to grow small accounts. And I mean, butterflies are one of my favorite ways to grow small accounts, especially because they're very cheap. They're a very cheap trade. That's especially why I've used them a lot, because when I am working on growing smaller accounts, I find that they're a great use of my money. But what you need to do is how to identify the strongest stocks likely to make greater than expected moves. When these stocks have a specific pattern, you have to know this, making them great for entry, and how to execute on that. That's knowing a handful of option strategies that you can use to make your money, okay? I do this by looking for stocks that are lit up, all right? I can do my entire process and teach it to you, or I can show you how to get the easy answers with tools that light the way, and then how to execute on those, okay? Remember this combo that we talked about. Stacked moving averages, price above the 21 EMA. And for those of you who are asking about downside markets, yes, if you flip this over, you just flip it upside down. You use the same setup in a downside market. So instead of looking for stacked moving averages with your price above these levels, you look for stacked moving averages with your price below these levels, okay? You just flip it upside down. I'm using the upside examples because, well, that's the market that we're in. How is this for someone working full-time? Well, I'm not sure about your work schedule, but I'm currently homeschooling a first grader, and I've specifically made my trading strategy so that I really only have to trade for like 2 or 3 hours a day. And, you know, you can really even make it less than that as long as you can get in and out when the market's moving, or if you can at least have access to a computer at the market open or close, then it'll work for you. I do not like to sit and stare at the computer all day, even when I'm not busy. And for that reason, I have made my trading strategy fit my lifestyle rather than the other way around. So we talked about these rules, right? Well, for me, I wanted to make these trading rules appear very easily as colors, okay? And I have done this with a combination of these tools. I use my Phoenix tool, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. I use my Trend Strength Turbo candles, which I've referred to a couple times, and we can talk about it again. My scans, my watch list, and my watch list columns, okay? This is the full package for everything that I do. And you know, it's been so different this year. This year, it has been all about relative strength, okay? I've always looked at the trend. Trend is very important, okay? But it's only one aspect, and it's not the most important. Relative strength is absolutely critical. You know, people will always talk about RSI and say, oh, you know, the RSI is going up or down. That's great. But you know what's even better is you need to be able to recognize which stocks are stronger than the rest. That is all about relative strength. If you have NVIDIA and you have, I don't know, JCPenney's, let's say, that's a pretty obvious example, but you need to be able to compare two of these stocks and recognize which one is stronger. And you need to be able to recognize what to do when the market shifts, because guess what? Guess what's maybe going to cause a big shift coming up here soon in the next 3 weeks? Anybody know? The market shifts all the time, okay? This year it shifted because of the pandemic. I don't think anybody saw that coming. The next major shift that I see as a potential is the election. And people are asking right now, hey, Danielle, you know, do you think it's a good idea to be trading right now because of the election? First of all, I have moved down on my ladder to be a little bit more conservative and conservatively aggressive due to the volatility because of the election. But there is a ton of opportunity here, okay? Because based on whichever party ends up in the White House, there's going to be different areas of the market that provide opportunity. For example, solar power, okay? That's a good example of one. I'm sure we could think of a lot of others, but the moral of the story here is you have to be able to recognize major shifts when they happen so that you can make money on them. So I want to talk about my tool, which is the Phoenix tool, okay? This is my relative strength secret sauce, okay? Anybody can look at relative strength on an individual chart and you can go down your rules and you can say where's price in relation to the moving averages and how are the moving averages stacked and this and that and the other thing. Well, this does it all for you, okay? The Phoenix Finder is coded so that every single one of my rules will tell you if they're fitting within that rule set or not, okay? Look at it just like a stoplight, okay? Green means go, red means no, and yellow means, maybe you can speed through before something changes here. So, so when you're looking at Zoom, for example, you see how it was green, 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 and then you got some yellow. That was telling you, hey, you better pump the brakes, all right? Pump the brakes right when the top of the market came in. And then you got a green light telling you it is time to look at Zoom and make some money in this ticker. Same thing here with Peloton, same thing here with Fresh Pet, same thing here with Crowd. And the best part about this is it compares different stocks all at the same time. So if you're sitting there asking yourself, which one should I buy? Should I buy Zoom? Should I buy Peloton? Should I buy Tesla? Boom, you have your answer. Like, answer given to you right there. It's like cheating on a test. So what does it go with? It goes with the Trend Strength Turbo candles, okay? These candles are actually the magic that power the Phoenix Finder. You see the colors of these candles here? They go red to yellow to green. That is the exact same code that is drawn down here on your grid. So it takes the magic and it puts it all in one place so you can see it all at one time. You can put your own watch list in there. You can use my watch list. You can customize it however you want. Here's a couple different ways that I customize it. So here's my grid called the COVID Retail Kings and Queens. We talked about this earlier on in the presentation about how there's retail losers and retail winners, right? Well, Chewy, look at who has the most green. Amazon, green, 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 green. Oh, here's a buying opportunity. Here's another buying opportunity, green. Okay, we have Alibaba. Green means go, red means no. Wait till pull back, yellow, boom, things are changing and off you go. So you can easily, pull up a retail grid and say, hey, you know what? I have a couple different retail tickers that are about to take off, but I don't want to pick the loser. Look at JD, OSTK, Wayfair, not one of those. I want to pick FVRR or DKS, right? You don't want to pick the loser. You want to pick the winner. Same thing with Walmart. Walmart is one that is just now starting to light up, okay? You just want to pick the ones that are the best within their overall group. NVIDIA is one that has been incredibly strong, okay? We have green all over the place. And the semiconductors is one of my favorite areas to trade. You know why? Because there's a lot of green. There's a lot of stocks that are lit up. That means a lot of opportunity, okay? Can you short the losers? Of course you can. Yes. I wouldn't do it on one of the strong grids like semiconductors, for example, because the semiconductors grid overall is pretty much everything is strong on it. But retail, stuff like that, absolutely. Okay. You bought the 10X bars. How different are the turbo candles to the 10X? The code of the colors of the candles are what is different. The 10X bars have 3 different colors and they're based on the ADX, okay? It's more based on momentum. The trend strength candles are coded with 5 different colors and they're based on the strength of the trend. If you just bought the 10X bars and you're interested, please email support@simplertrading and you can see how that goes. But basically, the dot is the same and the colors are different because they have completely different codes. Mine are really based on the strength of the trend. The other ones are based on the ADX. So the trick with Phoenix is that it's forever changing, okay? That means that the tickers that I trade are going to change with the market. With sectors and industry groups, these that I'm jumping on, they're going to change, they're going to adapt with the times. The lists that I look at and the lists that I trade off of are changing always. My top picks are the ones that go into my Phoenix folio. My Phoenix folio is a compilation of the top stocks that I trade, where you can just pull up a list on the Phoenix Finder, see exactly which ones I'm trading, and have the same list as I do and know when they're lit up or they're not lit up. How is this different than the squeeze? So this is actually based on the trend. It's not based on consolidation breakouts. It's based on the trend. So folios, these have changed as well, okay? My core focus is completely different than it was last year, and yours should be too. Currently, my top folios are number one, my top 15 money-making tickers. Number two, the core semiconductors. Number three, the grandma loves it list. These are companies that, they're the big, large cap companies that everybody, your grandma, she knows the names of them, okay? So very common companies that everybody loves to trade. Number four, the COVID retail kings and queens. Some of these have been very hot last year. Hot IPOs and more. The folios are my personal handmade lists that I selected and put into the Phoenix Finder that are already generated with the tool, okay? And with the Phoenix Finder, you can also customize them as well and put your own lists in there. So, that's the beginning, okay? Picking the stock is the beginning. After that, it's how you trade it. Net, this was one of my hot picks that was lit up. I decided to trade this one with a long call. It was pretty cheap, $3.10, got out for $5.80. That was an 87% winner. I had a huge gap up on this one, and this stock has just multiplied over the past couple days as well. So that was also a pick that I added in my long stock portfolio back in July that I alerted out to mastery members when it was only trading at, it was right around this time. So it was trading about $30 or so. And, that thing's been up 20 or 30% this week. So there's also going to be times where I use a little bit more of an aggressive strategy. In this example with Chewy, I bought them for $6.15 and sold them for $12.70. And on this trade example, I did a small trade, okay? It was only 96 cents, $96, of course, in options. 80% winners, sold it for $1.80. And sometimes when I have a magic combo, that is when I layer it up. In this example, I had long calls in addition to a fly that led to $1,000 profit overnight, okay? If you pull up this Phoenix list, you can see that AMD is lit up, okay? And guess what? This most recent pullback in AMD, I bought that one too. So the best part about these stocks is that you don't just trade it one time. You don't just trade it one time and then, you forget about it. You trade it again and again and again and again, because typically the ones on the list are the ones that are the strongest ones, and you're going to have multiple entries and multiple exits, okay? So for me, the answer is always going to be these lit up stocks. You have to start with a high probability hand, and you're much more likely to win the pot. I've learned this lesson with Henry and Daryl trading playing poker. See, I can't even say it right. These guys will laugh so hard. But they've been trying to teach me how to play poker. And one of the most important lessons is you have to start off with that high probability hand, right? And you always want to play every hand, but you cannot do it. You have to learn when to fold. For those of you who play poker, you'll know what I mean, right? But ultimately, you have to remember why you're trading and continuing on this path to begin with. So for me, this is where my search for freedom began, okay? I ended up at 25 years old, a single mother. I had to leave my son's biological father. It was an awful situation. Thankfully, I escaped and we're safe. The last thing he ever said to me was that I would never be able to support myself without him. He told me that I'd come crawling back because I would not be able to survive on my own. Well, my success story here is that never happened. And now I can use what I have learned through trading online to support myself, my family. And you know what? When crazy things happen, like 2020, and we have the coronavirus, canceled trips, we have no school, I've got my kid here all day, self-isolation. What we have is we have the ability to make money in the stock market. And you know what's great for us as traders is that when the market's even crazier, things are even better for us. So it's a little bit insane. We have no idea what's coming with the election. We don't know what's coming in 2020, but we do know that we have the tools to survive and to thrive, okay? For me, I got into trading to begin with because there was no way I was going to leave my newborn with anybody, all right? And I started trading because I wanted to be with him. Now, I'm teaching first grade apparently because things are way too crazy for us to put him in school. So this is what we do. We homeschool on the couch. We go fishing. This is him playing with his dad now, Daryl, most amazing husband on the whole planet, swimming at the pool and learning how to read. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trading. I'm teaching my kid. I'm making money. I trade the market open. I trade the market close. I take the middle of the day to be with my family because my time is precious and I know that yours is as well. Okay. So what this means is that my formula, my tools, and my method must be pristine. Okay. When I'm sitting there trying to teach fractions, I don't want everything going crazy in the background, all right? I need to have trades on that are going to be holding up through market volatility and they're going to make me regular income, okay? So they must lead to me saving time and making money because you know why? This gives me freedom, all right? The freedom to homeschool, the freedom to go fishing at lunchtime, and the freedom to buy a house right on the lake because that is what I wanted to do. Most of all, it's so that I can spend time with my family, okay? So if you want to learn more about my formula that I have perfected over the years, this is the opportunity, okay? I personally used to think making 20 to 50% was amazing. And I was so happy with that. It was great. I could pay for diapers. That was about it. No vacations or anything like that, but it was awesome. And this year I've done 500% 3 times in a row. This last time, 600%. And it's because of the adjustments that I've made to my trading plan because I wanted more, okay? And if you want me to show you the way, I am happy to be your guide. So for me, this is my formula, okay? It's about identifying tickers that are really gonna move with my stock picking formula. It's about looking at these tickers that are stronger than all the others, recognizing when to get in before they take off, knowing which core option strategies to apply, and applying my account growth super secrets, okay? So I'm sure you've guessed at this point that there's a class coming up. I have put this class together based on everything that I'm doing currently, okay? I'm calling it the Options Freedom Formula because, well, I just feel like, this is my formula for freedom. This is what I've found. This is what I'm doing, and I want to share it with other people. So if you would like to join me for my class, the Options Freedom Formula, I'm going to give you everything that we've talked about throughout the course of this webinar. You can go to simplertrading.com/freedom. And I know that Mandy, Sarah, Daryl, my amazing husband, are in the background. I know that one of y'all would be happy to post the link, but basically this is what is going to be included in this package, okay? So what I'm including in this is I definitely want to give you a copy of my tool, all right? So number 1, we have the Options Freedom Strategy class. Number 2, we have the Phoenix Finder tool, all right? You definitely have to have the tool. Number 3, you've got to have the Phoenix Folio. These are the watch lists that I'm currently using now. The tickers are set as I give them to you, but you can change it however you want, okay? So you can upload my multiple watch list, which I call the Phoenix Folio, or you can say, hey, you know what? I want to use whichever one I want to use, and you can upload it exactly how you want, okay? With this class is going to come an indicator installation session. That is going to make sure that you can set up your indicator exactly how it needs to be used. And you're gonna get a bonus 20% off store coupon. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely ask support, Penny, and see about that. That's the next slide, actually. So if you already have a certain indicator or something like that, absolutely give the customer service team a call. If you're in the mastery, if you already have a certain indicator, something like that, you can call support at Simpler Trading at 511-266-8659, or you can go to support at Simpler Trading, email support@simplertrading.com, and they will absolutely take care of you. In this class, I have also included tons of homework, of course, because I am a teacher after all. I included the basics of my top 4 option strategies. Also, all about the squeeze. I also included a complete write-up on all my trading tools, why I use each one, and what my charts look like. I included my risk checklist, my squeeze checklist, a document on how to understand trade alerts, and more. So if you're a beginner and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I can take this or not, I have included basically everything that you need to get caught up with this class, all right? I also included, of course, my trading tools. So in there, you're going to have my watch list with specific instructions on how to set it up exactly like mine, so that you're going to be able to identify the relative strength winners and pick them out at the right moments in time. I'm going to teach you exactly how to use your tools. You need to know how to be able to use your watch list, how to use your scans, how to use the Phoenix Finder, and then most importantly, how to trade them in the options market. Does this teach butterflies? Absolutely, yes. We are going to be talking about butterflies. We're going to be talking about long calls. We are going to be talking about spreads as well. What is the difference between the mastery and the class? Great question. So in the mastery, basically I'm giving you all the answers. I'm giving you all my trades on a regular basis. I'm giving you updates every single day. If you want to take a class, the class is the deep dive. The class is, hey, I want to understand exactly what Danielle is doing, exactly why. I want to take a 4-hour class where she's going to explain from A to Z exactly how she does these top 3 strategies in relation to the Phoenix Finder. So typically, the mastery is great for every single day, following along, monthly live trading. If you want to dive in more and take an additional class to improve your learning, that is where I'm going to be teaching on October 24th. Yes, October 24th. Thank you. If you say, hey, you know what? I love the mastery. I don't want to take another class right now. That is 100% totally fine. This is a class that I've put together because, this year has been just life-changing for me. And these were the tidbits that I wanted to put together to share with people now. So how is it different than your Phoenix Finder course? So the first time that I taught Phoenix Finder, basically I studied top-down analysis. So we focused on top-down analysis. It was, let's break apart each sector and let's look at the top stock. At this point, what I'm really focusing on is how to identify relative strength within the market, using your scans, using the tool, using your watch list. But more importantly, I'm going to be focusing on my top option strategies. This is my options masterclass. This is literally everything that I do all in one place, all right? The last time we talked about the Phoenix Finder was really primarily just looking at long calls. And over the years, I have absolutely adjusted how I trade. And currently, I'm using a combination of various option strategies at different moments in time. So that's really what this class is going to be focusing on. So, the tool, yes, the tool has been around and the tool's amazing. And that's why it's been around. And that's why it's still around, because it works. Okay. So we have life before Phoenix. Before that, I was spending hours a day looking for trades, picking the wrong bets. But you know what? The Phoenix Finder just makes it so easy to spot relative strength trades, to know when to trade the right option, and to know which ones to stay away from, okay? That is absolutely critical as well. So for me, community is absolutely critical. I love being able to customize the grids. For me, this is just an amazing tool within this arsenal, okay? And this grid in particular, these have been the tickers that I've been trading over and over and over and over again. Great presentation tonight. What will you be trading during the live trading? Long calls, butterflies, spreads, all three. All three. So, all the classes that I've taught, I've taught a class on trading butterflies. It was called Stack Profits. It was like 5 different ways to do a butterfly, okay? I've taught a class on trading spreads. It was called 5-star options income. This right here is the master class. It is the combination. It is my favorite butterfly, my favorite spread, and my favorite times to do long calls and how to find them. So that is what this class is about. If you want to join me on that ride, that is exactly what I'm going to be teaching. You're going to be out of town on the 24th for your mom's birthday. That is amazing. Well, I hope you have a great time with your mom. If you are not going to be available on that date, you can still join the class and you can view the recording later that night on the weekend before the live trading starts. So we are going to be having 4 different live trading days with this class, because I think that it's absolutely critical to go through the live trading. Awesome. And you're going to be joining us. That's great. I can't wait to see you there. You love my mastery and my classes. Thank you so much. So basically the strategy class that's on Saturday is going to be 4 or 5 hours usually. And that is going to be where I'm going to break it down and I'm going to teach you exactly how I find my picks, how to use the Phoenix Finder, and primarily it's going to be about how to use each option strategy win with all of my account growth tips, okay? That is what's going to be on the October 24th class. That is included in the basic package, and I'm going to give you a copy with the tool. And it's going to also have my hand pick watch list, okay? That's what I'm calling the Phoenix Folio. And we have also decided to include an Options 101 class that John and Henry taught, great class, because we wanted to make sure that, for anybody who wasn't really sure about the basics of options, we wanted to make sure that that material was available to you so you could get started at the right pace, okay? We're also going to be giving everyone a 20% coupon to the Simpler store, because I know, there's many different people who've had this class or that class. So if you want to pick up anything, you absolutely can with your coupon, okay? The pro trading days, these are going to be a lot of fun, okay? So strategy class is great to learn, when do I get in? When do I get out? What do I use? The pro package is how we actually see this in live hours, okay? So if you want to join me for the live trading, this is going to be on the 27th and the 29th, okay? It's going to be at market open and at market close. That's because these are my top 2 times that I like to trade. Is there a limited number of tickers that are added on the grid? You can add 15 at a time. Can you work with multiple smaller watch lists? Yes, you absolutely can. If you only want 5 on your grid, you can. Are there any toss scans included? Yes. Does this include the turbo candles? So the trend strength turbo candles are included with the elite package. These are going to come with 2 additional live trading days. And guess what? These are the 2 days directly after the election. This is going to be Wednesday, November 4th and Thursday, November 5th. So basically, I don't know if you remember what happened in the last election, but it was a little bit of a wild ride. So I wanted to make sure that we would be together on the day immediately after the election and the day after that, because I sensed there might be a little bit of craziness going on. So if you're joining for the Elite package, we are going to have, number one, 2 days of pro live trading and 2 days of elite live trading. And that is going to come with the Trend Strength Turbo candles as well. Okay. We talked about the Trend Strength Turbo candles, but basically how they work is that they populate based on price in relation to the moving averages and how the moving averages are stacked. There are 5 different colors, so they're very nuanced. Okay. You can see very nuanced shifts in the trend, and you can also see volume and momentum, okay? So, I love the shifts in the trend. You can go from red to yellow, that's your heads up right there, boom, green, and there you go. You have this nice volume and momentum wave that you definitely want to ride. They display when to get in, and they display when to get out. The math behind these candles is based on the Fibonacci number series, okay? They shift based on the moving averages, like I said, and the volume dots light up when there is a big volume move. And that's one of the parameters that tells me when it's really time to go big. Can anybody guess what chart this is right here? Anybody? Right up at the 786? Green, 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 all lit up. Tesla, good job, Abraham. Tesla. Oh my gosh, you're joining as well. I cannot wait to have you. It's going to be great. I don't know. It's been an awesome year. It's been really life-changing for me. And I really just wanted to be able to put everything together as a record, go through it, and share what I know with the world. So this is the package right here. If you go to simplertrading.com/freedom, go to simplertrading.com/freedom. Let's see, I can pull it up for you here. This is exactly how you get to the order page. We also have PayPal credit available now. So all the information is going to be on this page. So you can go ahead and click on this, go right to the link. And this is where you are going to find the information about all the packages. You have the dates here. We have an indicator install session. We have a strategy class. We have live trading. And all the information, again, is right here. So we're going to be focusing on exactly how I make my picks. We're going to be focusing on my top 3 methods, when to know there's a magic combo, and how to generate options returns. Will the indicators work with Toss and Tasty? I'm not sure if they work with Tastyworks quite yet, but we are working on working on putting all of our indicators on their platform. So I would have to check with Daryl or Eric to see when that's coming. But I know it's coming soon. As of right now, it's absolutely on Thinkorswim and TradeStation. I keep following Danielle for about a year, and I have her training in indicators. This session will be good as it will help me put all of this together instead of me pasting it all together. That's really exactly it, Bob, because, I've taught short interest, I've taught the squeeze, I've taught butterflies. This is like the compilation of everything at one time. You have the 20% coupon for signing up for the mastery. Can you use it? Definitely email customer support. I don't think that should be a problem at all. Yeah, so I don't see any problem with that personally. Great webinar by such an enthusiastic teacher. Thank you. You're very welcome. Does Danielle post her freedom trades in the mastery? Yes, I do. Can you use the candles to trade very short-term futures? Yes, you can. Does this class have anything to do with futures? So this class is an options class. So we're not teaching option or futures in it per se. But I mean, you can use the same tools. You can use, and I can throw my futures grid in there too, because I do have a futures Phoenix grid, and I can absolutely add it to the Phoenix folio. So you can use it to trade futures, and you can also use the candles to trade futures, but this class is primarily focused on options. What's the Turbo VZO on your chart? So the Turbo VZO is another tool that I like to use where it shows you which direction volume is going. So if volume is going up, if volume is going down, if we're having a major volume move, that's something that additional to help me get in or out. Is the Turbo VZO included? That is not included in this class. The tool that is included with this class is the Phoenix Finder tool. And in the Elite package, the Trend Strength Turbo candles are included as well. Are you going to show how to use the tool in a down market? I can absolutely do that. Looking for the best pricing I can get, I would absolutely just email support@simplertrading.com. Is this the training you do in the Stock Profits membership? Yes. What's the main difference between this and Weekly Wires Elite? You know, I have no idea what that class is about, honestly. I wish I could answer that question for you, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, that class was about selling put credit spreads on a regular basis. John really doesn't use a lot of butterflies. I use primarily a combination of calls and butterflies along with some spreads. You really enjoyed this and look forward to your class. Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to the class. Life changer. Thank you. That is amazing. Just confirming, is the October 24th session included in the basic? Yes, it is. How to find the formula, sign up on the website. So go to simplertrading.com/freedom. And then I think you just scroll down here to the bottom. Yeah, you just claim my spot. Very interesting. Good presentation. Does the Phoenix Finder work on lower time frames? Yes, it absolutely does. So let me see. I can just pull it up for you here. So the Phoenix Finder you can use on any time frame. This right now is set to the daily chart, and I'm looking at the semiconductors, but I mean, you can shift it down to a 15-minute chart, and that's how you can really determine your entries and exits. So it's a pretty versatile tool. It's especially helpful when the market shifts lower, and then you can identify the tickers that are turning to the upside. So for example, this is a 15-minute chart. You can also go to the 30-minute chart here. And for example, here, I mean, you can see automatically which semiconductors are strong and which ones are weak. So CD&S is gaining some strength. So is AVGO. So is LRCX. Qualcomm never lost that strength at all. So you can use these lower time frame charts for entries. You know, if you're trading on a 5-minute time frame, you can absolutely do that. I don't have the watch list set up for the weakest stocks out there, but if you want to set it up that way, you absolutely can. Like, for example, I have a financials list. Financials haven't been great until, you know, a little bit more recently. But if you wanted to look at a financials list, for example, you see all this red, or, you know, you can literally put anything in here that you want. You can go in, you edit your studies. It's really easy to do. You have a list right here of 15 different tickers. You can put in, you know, the weakest stocks that you know of right here. And the way that it's going to work is it's just going to be the opposite. So instead of looking for green to buy, you're looking for something that goes, you see how right here, it's green, right up to resistance. And then it shifts to yellow and then down it goes. That would be an example of a sell signal on the Phoenix Finder. William, I have no problem with that whatsoever. If you email support, that is just fine for me. So yeah, I mean, you can use it for downside trades as well. And then basically you just save the different grids. So, you know, I mean, I have like right here, this is the Phoenix Finder top tickers that I like to trade all the time. For me, people always ask me, like, why do you only trade at the upside? Well, because they're, you know, incredibly strong tickers right now that are just We had like Tesla was up like 4% today or something like that. For me, I like to trade things that are explosive. So that's why I like to trade to the upside. If you want a transports list, I'm happy to make you a transports list. If there's another list that y'all want, I mean, I can definitely do that. I do have, let's see, I don't think I have a transports list, but I'm happy to make a transports list and the airliners list. If you guys want a downside list, I can definitely make one. But I have tons of lists in here. You know, I've got the Grandma Loves It list. This is one of my favorite lists because this is a large cap stocks that I like to use. And then, you know, like I said, I've got the debt bubble, cybersecurity. There's multiple different lists in here, and you can make your own too. Do you need to use Thinkorswim? So the Phoenix Finder currently works in Thinkorswim and TradeStation. Yep, we have an IPO list as well. So, you know, I didn't want to make everyone super overwhelmed by just adding like a million lists, but it's pretty simple for me to come up with a list and make another one. So, I mean, if there's a specific list that you're interested in, like an EV list or airliners or transports or whatever the case may be, I'm happy to add those. I was thinking of joining your options gold program. Doesn't Danielle regularly present? So in the options room, I am in the options room usually 3 times a week about. And then in my mastery program is basically where the majority of my trades go. So the majority of my trades go in the mastery program. I do a once per month live trading where we go over, you know, hey, these are the tickers that we're looking at. These are the ones that we're trading. This is why. This is the state of the market that we're in right now. Everything like that. Oh, here's my futures grid. I was looking for it. I was like, where's my futures grid? So anyways, so in the mastery program, that's where most of my trades go. That's primarily a trade alert service. So for people who, you know, you want to follow up every single month. You want to know what I'm doing all the time. You want to have my alerts every single day. That is the best way to follow. If you want to study and if you want to learn a class and you want to say, hey, you know, I want to do this myself, then a class is great. And there's a lot of people who want both because they say, hey, you know, I'm in the mastery and I really like your trades. I want to learn more about how you pick them. And so for me, like, this is basically the class that I made that explains what I do in the mastery. So this class is really like about how I manage my mastery. And so, you know, there's different things, different strokes for different folks, right? So some people want a class, some people want some people just want a mastery and they just want alerts. So if you go to, Sarah's posting the link right there. It's simplertrading.com/profits is the link to the mastery. Yeah, so I teach classes usually maybe 3 times a year. This is my class that I'm teaching, the last class that I'm teaching this year. And I don't think I'm teaching another class again until April of next year. So this is what I'm teaching right now because this is what is working right now. So if you want to join me, I'm going to be there. Here's a futures grid. I can also add that to, and I can kind of adjust it too, and I can add that to the class list as well if you guys want the futures grid. I do trade futures if there's something crazy that comes up. For example, after the election, there might be some futures trades. I can't really promise. It just depends what's going to happen. Last election, it was really crazy. So we did a lot of futures trading then, but I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen. So it's worth it just to see the trading after the election. Yeah, it's probably going to be insane. So anyways, no, the mastery class, the mastery is completely different. So I have an ongoing mastery program that meets every single month. It's actually meeting tomorrow. And this is a special class that is going to be on October 24th. So if you want to learn about the mastery, you can go to simplertrading.com/profits, and that is where you can learn about the mastery program. So you have live trading. And so like I said, like it's not really like a class format, because when I teach a class, I have a full, 200, 300 deck of slides where I, give the entire formula, everything that's going on. And the mastery, we do live trading once a month, and I just teach in the mastery. I teach what's ever happening right then. So if that day we have a pullback day, we're buying pullback. If that day we have an explosion higher, we're looking for volume breakouts. It just depends. This class is based on a certain topic, which is how to grow an options account. So I hope that makes sense. I thought the futures were doing something crazy. I just wanted to check that out. Yeah, what's going on in the NASDAQ? Awesome. Well, I am looking forward to seeing you there. Yes, you're going to join for the elite package. That's great. What size account will you be trading? So I generally try to size my trades for like a $10,000 or $20,000 account. I will talk about that during the class, just kind of how I position those. But for the most part, most of the trading that I do is completely applicable for a $5,000 class, for a $5,000 account, because that's usually what I start with when I start growing. So I definitely do trades that are applicable for that size account, but there are going to be, trades that are also going to be applicable for a higher size account as well. So part of the class is talking about, okay, when are we going to be more conservative? When are we going to be more aggressive? And I'm going to give you the outline for how I do that. Because even right now, I'm trading with, I just showed you my account is now like what? 33,000 from 6,000. So even though I'm trading like a $33,000 account now, I'm still sizing a little bit smaller, especially in the mastery. So Phoenix Finder is your go-to tool to plan the week. It's a visually clean system to follow. Love it. Thank you, Jeannie. That's awesome. How much do I risk per ticker? Usually between about $500 and maybe $2,000 at the max, but I usually keep it between about $500 and $1,500. Can you buy stock instead of the options? Yes, absolutely. So I do buy stock based on this system. I've been growing a stock account for a couple years for my son based on this system. And I started out with $2,000, and now I have it up to $11,000 based on it. And I just, it's just for the kids. So basically I'm using that system to grow the account as well. So you absolutely can use the system to grow a stock account. You will take the class on the 24th, but you want to watch it again? Yes. If you want to watch it again, you can watch it as many times as you want. Once you buy it, it is yours. You have it. You can watch it as many times as you want. So anyways, moral of the story is this is what the class is. I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. Do I take a 100% loss? Not usually. There are some kind of one-off 100% losses. If I have a one-off 100% loss, it's usually a trade that I specifically noted was going to be a full risk, which is less than $5 a contract. When I take stops, it's usually around 50%, but I have a pretty good win rate. It's about 70, 73%. So it's not very often that I take those substantial losses like that. And that's why you have to be able to pick the stocks to begin with. And do I take the money out of the account and start over again? Yeah, I mean, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with this account. I'm thinking maybe fishing boat. So my other two accounts that I was trading this year, I cashed in both of those, used that for a down payment for Lake House. And now I'm on my third one, and I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. So I took out $5,000 last week, and I bought a bunch of LVGO stock, and I alerted that one out. And other than that, I haven't really decided what I'm going to get with it. So, but overall, moral of the story is just got to focus on growing accounts and see where it takes you. So I'm going to teach you all the tricks. If you want to join me, you can join me. That's what I'm going to be doing. Other than that, I'm going to let you get out of here. If you have any further questions, please email support@simplertrading.com. The trades in my mastery program are all tracked in the spreadsheet. Will this be emailed out tomorrow? Daryl will be getting on that as soon as I'm done talking. So it'll be emailed out later tonight. Thank you so much. I enjoyed all of you being here. I can't wait to join you in the class, and I will see you in the next one.